Hey guys, can we all agree that if we're going to grow an audience, if we're going to build our business, we have to create content, and not just any content, right? Like it needs to be good content. And once you create the content, you want to get the most out of it, right? So that's why I'm going to show you my super top secret system. It's literally an assembly line for producing content. So the first thing that we're going to start off with is you'll see that I've got my Trello board here. I don't know if I could live without my Trello board. Even if I didn't have a team, I would need this Trello board because it helps me stay organized. This is literally like an assembly line, okay? And the thing with these Trello cards is that you can move them from one space to the next. So the first thing that you'll see, the first column is raw video. So for example, this video that I'm producing right now there'll be a raw MP4 or actually a .mov file, and I will plop it right down there on my Trello board. When that happens, I have set up an IFTTT recipe so that my assistant will get notified that I did that. He will come along and edit that video. Now, if you don't have an assistant, then you could totally do this on your own, but I'm just showing you how I do it. Okay, so he edits the video. Then I come along, I review his edits, and then what I do is I find the most important parts of that particular tutorial and I write down the timestamps, meaning if at 1 minute 20 seconds I gave a really super important golden nugget or tip, I want to make sure that if someone lands on my video and then they decide they don't want to watch the whole thing, that instead of just leaving, that they at least watch the most important point, which as a person who I'm very impatient and I like to get right to the point, I really appreciate when people do this. And when you do this in your YouTube videos, in the description area, it automatically hot links so the person can click on that timestamp and go directly to that part in the video, okay? Shout out to Nathan Hague of Australia Wow for that amazing tip. Then once I do that, then again, my assistant comes back in, takes that information, moves to the next column, and we decide what freebie is going to go with this tutorial, and we place it there. Then we move the video with the freebie to the next column, and all the graphics for all social channels are created. So we do a Twitter graphic, a Pinterest graphic, a graphic for the blog, which is usually the same as Pinterest, a Facebook graphic, an Instagram graphic. You get the point. Then we publish the video to YouTube and we optimize it. So optimizing, that's a whole other video, okay, to properly optimize your video for YouTube. But that's when that magic happens. And part of that includes doing the timestamps that I just mentioned. Then also at the same time, SRT files are created. And what SRT files are is basically like closed captions. So when your video runs, whether it's on YouTube or it's on Facebook, people don't have to turn the sound on because they can read the text. And research has shown that you get a lot more engagement with your videos when you do this. So something very important. Then we're going to take the video with the freebie and it's all ready to go, and we're going to publish it to the blog. And then after that, we're going to upload it to Facebook. We're going to natively upload it to Facebook. We're not just going to plop down the video from or the link from the blog. And we are also going to upload the SRT file there, so the video has the text going across it, and we will include a link to the blog post. Then I had to have my notes because there's so much. Who knew, right? Like there's so much involved in just one video, one piece of content. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to schedule this with Onlypult. That's ONLYPULT. That's my Instagram scheduler. So now that's scheduled with Onlypult. Then Meet Edgar, we're going to put that in there, and it's going to be evergreen. We're going to plop this blog post down into my blog post library, and so now it's going to get circulated to all the different social channels, Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and my Facebook groups, on an ongoing basis. Then I'm going to schedule it to Pinterest with Board Booster. That's my Pinterest scheduler. Then during that week, I am going to do a Periscope about the topic that I discussed in the blog post. I'll do an Instagram story. I will do a Facebook Live video. What I will do with that Facebook Live video is, you guessed it, more SRT files. So now we're going to create more SRT files to go with that Facebook Live video. The Facebook Live video is then itself going to be optimized because it will become a piece of content in and of itself that we can use in different ways. But what I'm going to make sure and do is create a Facebook custom audience based on the people who watch this particular video. And you should be doing that with all your Facebook Live videos. It's free, and you can tell Facebook to create an audience based on how many people watch 25% of your video, 50% of your video, all of your video. And that's super valuable. Then we're going to go to LinkedIn. I'm going to copy and paste all of the information that was literally just copy and paste the text from the blog post, and I'm going to paste it in LinkedIn's publisher, which is different than LinkedIn's regular status update. This is a whole nother blog post, so I'm not going to go deep into that, but it's something you definitely want to do with every time you post a blog. Then I'm going to post my blog post to all my groups, all my Facebook groups, and even a couple that aren't mine where it would be appropriate and helpful. I'm not going to spam a bunch of groups with my blog posts. And then I'm going to run Facebook ads to the blog post, about $5 to $10 a day for about 7 days. So as you can see, that is content assembly line, content creation assembly line. And it seems like a lot of work because it is a lot of work. But the thing is, if I do this on Mondays, for example, the first Monday of every month, if I do 4 of these, then essentially, and I send one of the, and I go through this process for each piece of content weekly, then I've essentially, in one day, I've batched everything and I've created content for the entire month, freeing me up to look into joint ventures, writing webinars, creating my next course, and doing all that revenue producing stuff. I learned how to do all this or have this mindset because of Todd Herman at the 90-Day Year, and you're going to hear a lot more about that in the very near future.